Alright, and here we are. Yeah, just almost picking up where I left off last time. I think this music might be a little bit loud. Yeah, I just finished up the line work for Jody, and now we're going to color her real quick. This on the right is like the sketch colors basically. So I already have everything picked out. I'm just going to make it look clean. It's easier to just select everything than try to fix up this rough version. Put some GT Legends music. Oops, no, that's the wrong. Yeah, should be pretty quick. Then we'll go on to Gazelle. Again, I just want to do this first because then I have my post for the day in the bag and I can do whatever I want the rest of the stream without having this thought of needing to still finish something that I don't know exactly how long it's going to take. So let's get this done, then it's a lot more relaxed. Hello, I can properly talk now again. Hi Neon, what's up? So yeah, just finishing this up real quick. I think this one's looking pretty good. There's a light gray part of her suit that doesn't show very well in this background, but it will be black in the end. Hello! What's up, Lagan? My partner's home again, sadly, but I can now show up here again. Okay, cool. Well, glad you guys got to hang out together. How'd you go about that, by the way? Wasn't Mom not permitting it? Tell me if the music's a bit loud, by the way. Oh, he annoyed her enough. Okay, good. Just through attrition. That's good. Hope you guys had fun. I actually could, so we see the grays better. I could just deactivate the background. Oh no, I actually can't, because I'm using select all layers and that doesn't deal super well with transparency. It's better to have a flat background. Music's a tad loud, okay. Better now? Look at all of them sit down there. Yes, that's cool. Yeah, and we're going to have some more. Today, my girlfriend finally decided what she wants her doll to be, so I'll do that. There's also Meiko, who asked for a doll. So we have a couple. And also if anybody else shows up and wants it, they can. Mine's a new one on the right here. I mean, I think Neon saw that, like he just wasn't able to talk at the time. So yeah. Oh, Orlek's raiding us. What's up, Orlek and friends? We're just getting started. Yeah. Just getting started coloring Jody Summit here. Now for this I'm going to have to do a little boop. What are you guys doing over there? Haven't seen us in years. Yeah, must have been years. Hi. What's up? What are you guys working on? But oh, there's also this. Alright, now I should be able to just select things. I was drawing some Link's Awakening stuff, cool. That's nice. Were you drawing in kind of the style, like the realistic style from like the cutscenes? Or like the kind of chibi style from the new game? Looks really good. Oh, you were over there then. Cool. Yeah, I saw something, like I just liked on Twitter something by Orlek. But I can't really remember what it was. But yeah. Now, I don't really remember the color of her eyes. I'm going to Google real quick. Summer. What color are her supposed to be? Blue in in GX. I guess it's always blue. It looks kind of dark in GT Legends, but I think it's just the art style. Let me see. Yeah, they're blue. Alright. Definitely chibi style. Oh, cool. Still somewhat surreal seeing my little character down there. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a nice thing to give subscribers. So hopefully now that Mako got like a bunch of people subscriptions, maybe they'll, you know, enjoy having their characters down there and want to stay subscribed. So blue. I feel like every Nintendo character has blue eyes. I have a question though about the dolls. Ask away. Can you change the doll every time you subscribe? I guess I might as well. I don't think most people will want to change the doll every time. So for the people who do, I guess it's fine to allow that. Because it is my work, but you know, I figure most people will just keep one. I want one that's just perfect on now. Okay, cool. But yeah, I might as well let people change it. I figure it won't be so common that it will like increase that much the workload of maintaining it. Let's see. I might change a little bit the colors of the robot arm, just so it contrasts more with the shoulder pads. But in case I ever want to change it, in case I'm bored or something, might as well change it, but that would take at least a couple of months for that to happen. Yeah, I think it's fair enough to like let people do that. I made a mistake. Let me check. Boop, boop. Boop. I selected the wrong piece. There you go. And now this gray. This is what I'm thinking of changing. Making the gray a bit more different from this one. By making like really light, maybe. There you go. Okay, now the last one's the light gray, which I might make a little bit lighter actually. There you go. Yeah, I think that's good. So the music from GT Legends is a bit intense. I'll try GX. Some of them have. Some of the character teams have lyrics. There's only a couple of them. This is Captain Falcon's team. Her name is Raven, by the way, but I love her most recent drawing. This is such bad taste. Feels like I mean, I guess it's a Sega game because it feels like a Sonic song. It's terrible pop punk. Yikes. Okay, how long is this song? I'll never draw her. No, should draw her more. Okay, I'm just gonna skip Captain Falcon song because the lyrics are kind of distracting and cringy. So this is Dr. Stewart's team. Right, we have our white. I guess this might be a bit loud again, right? I'll just manage the volume here, it's a little easier. Alright. Tell me if the volume is ever unbalanced. This just feels really loud. Oh right, because I lowered it on the stream now, so I can't hear the difference anymore. Because when the bass volume of the YouTube song is really loud, it's really hard to manage it with the YouTube volume controls. That's too quiet, alright, I overdid it then. It's really difficult to manage it with the YouTube controls because every pixel that you move is a huge difference at that point, because it's kind of exponential. That's why it's usually best to just have one soundtrack and stick to it, because then I can level it at the start of the stream and just not mess with it anymore. This next song is starting really quiet, so or maybe it just is quiet relative to Dr. Schutz. What a mess. Why is this? Maybe if I scroll down. I didn't ask if I could do this, but I made my doll my profile picture on Discord. Nah, you feel free to. Yeah, sure, it's completely okay. I just skipped all the character teams because those are going to be way too inconsistent in volume. They're all different styles. They made a team for all 30 something drivers. And the only place I can remember them playing is when you look at their profiles. Very weird resource allocation there. Alright, I think she might be all done. As I said, the coloring for these doesn't take too long, because it's just flat colors. So yeah. Now let's get the other layers reviewed again, because we're going for the line work on Gazelle. I did the same on Steam. I use your Twitter handle as credit. That's plenty. No problem at all. Those are rewards for you guys, so you can use them as you wish. Yeah, I wouldn't be upset if there wasn't any credit, but I generally think that it is good form to credit stuff. Actually, I'm going to, when you zoom in, a bunch of little imperfections show up. Alright. So on to Gazelle. So for his design, so Gazelle's character is like he was a driver, and there's like this accident in the backstory to F-Zero X. They like cancelled F-Zero for a while, and he was the one who was most hurt. So he basically was reconstructed as a robot. He was a dude originally. But he still wants to race, and he's really obsessed with racing. It's like the whole thing. So I decided, like he already had this kind of wheels in his design, and his shoulders. So I decided that just because he's such a BRB Neon, okay, sure. Because he's such a race nerd, he would want to have like car elements to his design, which like for him a modern car would be like a vintage thing. So but because like communicate that he's a, you know, that he's like kind of a vehicle aficionado, that's kind of a race nerd, I decided that looking like an old school vehicle like his robot could be a cool design thing. Again, I'm trying to make them all a little bit less generic, a little bit more like communicating their character a little bit more through their design. That's basically the exercise that I'm doing. And we're going to get to do a lot of cool metal textures for him, so that's fun. But he's going to take way more time to do than Jody. But yeah, once we're done to this, on to dolls. So if anybody who shows up to the stream has or got gifted a subscription, you're entitled to a doll for as long as your subscription lasts, to be hanging around in the stream layout. So you can just tell me what you want and I will draw it. I'm saying this like very clearly because even though, you know, even the person isn't here now, I figure a lot of the people who got a doll, you know, might watch the VODs. I'm always surprised by how much more people watch the VODs than live. So then they will know to ask me for a doll, even if they want to do it like through some other means. Doesn't have to be live on stream. If you want to just tell me what your username is, you can you could send me like a Twitter DM and just tell me your username and what you would want your doll to be. No, you know, I'll look it up in the subscriber thing and make it a doll. For the really big wheels, I might just use the ink pen. I figure that's better. Music got really louder again. I hope I managed to. Oh, this is Firefield. Yeah. I hope I managed to level it off. I wonder if I can do it with just two things. Let me see. Oops. That's not right. Here and here. Yeah, I think this is about right. Let me see. Boop. Yeah, I think it looks good. Now let's take the whole thing. Oh, I'll do the thing where I move it a little bit. Actually, I'll do it here. Just to make the line not completely consistent with. Actually, F-Zero music might just not be a good idea. It's just too inconsistent in volume. Let's do something else. And just go with Dandara, which I know is good for this kind of stuff. How do I do this? Free transform path. Yeah, there you go. And cool. I have food. Good. I will try to remember my tea as I go this time. Alright. Now we'll clone stamp this. Actually, this one's not looking so great. Yeah. Yesterday, kind of randomly, I watched Jennifer's Body with my girlfriend. I don't know why that movie was like a lot of people had been like praising it and making fan art of it. I don't know what was up with that, but it had been like popping up on Twitter a lot. Like she saw it too, so she suggested we watch it because neither of us had ever watched it. I don't know why that movie like now became kind of cult for some reason. I feel like at the time nobody really cared. Like I remember when it came out. I guess kind of like Scott Pilgrim, which people like some people really liked when it came out, but some people weren't that big fans. I wasn't either. Like I wasn't super into it because I just felt like the comic was better. But a few years later, it has a huge cult following and people like watch it all the time. But anyway, we want to see what the buzz was about with Jennifer's body. And it's actually kind of funny. I was surprised. I didn't know that was going to be the thing. And sometimes it's kind of difficult to tell how much it is on purpose that is funny. Like the way teenagers talk in that movie is so funny. And I don't know if at the time like they were meant to be speaking in like 2000s teen slang, but it just sounds kind of ridiculous. Kind of like how Bill and Ted talk, where it's a little kind of a 90s stoner stuff, but they also have a really peculiar way of speaking where they use strange, outdated terms. And it's kind of funny in its own way because you're not sure how they talk, why they talk like that. Like there are so many expressions that they were using in that movie that I'm pretty sure nobody ever seriously used. But it also has, jokes that are very clearly intentional. And not possibly older people trying to write teenagers and doing a weird job of it. I'm usually a gameplay over graphics guy, but goddamn Pokemon Legend Arceus looks bad. That's like the old-timey version. I don't even know what the premise for that game is. Like they announced it alongside the Gen 4 remix, but these are in the past. I actually only saw the remakes, and the remakes looked terrible graphics-wise. And yeah, it wouldn't necessarily make the game bad, but it's also not a good sign when a studio that has access to all the money it could possibly need to make a game is not making the game look nice. It kind of feels like they're phoning it in, like they figure you buy whatever they write Pokemon in, so they don't need to invest any time or effort into the game. And they can just scrap out a million Pokemon games and it will be fine. Basically Pokemon Breath of the Wild, really? Huh. Didn't know that was a thing. Can't even picture how that would work. Just looking back, gameplay looks boring, world looks empty, the story just seems, it's Pokemon, and the graphics don't look good, I guess Pokemon's not in a super great place right now. Really don't know why. Like surely there are good developers who want to work on Pokemon and they can invest money on it. It's like one of the biggest multimedia merchandising empires ever. You'd think they'd want to make sure that the main series and the games and stuff are well received. But guess what game will probably have great sales? Yeah, presumably. Like, it takes a while for like bad games, etc., to tank a series. Like the first few bad ones, people just buy because they're still fans and like want to have played all the games. But over time, like series can lose their prestige, I feel. But something forever, just I mean, look at Sonic. How long Sonic games kept just completely sucking, and still Sega still, it still made monetary sense for them to make more. Because people just were still fans and were still buying every one, hoping the next one would be good. Like you had to be bad for a really long time before people give up on it. Especially if it's a thing with a fan base, right? Because Pokemon is this whole multimedia thing. People like the world and the characters, and they have merchandise of it, so they feel invested in it more so than a series that just has good games. But as soon as the games aren't good, there's nothing left to be a fan of. Most likely because it's a remake of a good game. The new Sonic game looks pretty good. What's the new Sonic game? As I've mentioned, I don't really see a lot of gaming news. Usually like the really big deal stuff, I find out about it through friends or through Twitter, but like people talking about it. But I don't really like follow gaming news stuff. I don't really read any of those things. Sonic Colors remake. Yikes. Colors is already. I mean, some stuff gets remakes not that long after. But yeah, I remember people liking Colors when it came out. Probably a good move if people, like if they asked fans, they would probably ask for a remake of Sonic Adventure, but Sega probably realized that that game actually sucks and people just remember it being good because like the graphics were nice for the time and it was the first 3D one. Sonic's a pretty good boosting style Sonic game. Yeah, I don't really know that much like the terminology. I've heard like people like divide them into types of running or whatever, but I don't really know what they mean. Just make Adventure 2, 3, that'd be cool. Like, what would the difference be between Adventure 3 and a new 3D Sonic? There really isn't, I feel that much that differentiates the adventure ones. Like, why wasn't Sonic Heroes an adventure game? Why wasn't Sonic 06 Sonic Adventure 3? It was basically a straight up sequel to those games. Both, like, in that it wasn't, like, despite the name, it isn't a remake. It's all the characters from Adventure are still there in the same state. And also gameplay wise, pretty much a Sonic Adventure game. What's up, Mako? I'm gonna make your doll right after we're done with this. Just wanna have like the post for the day all lined up, then we can go to dolls. Sonic has 3 gameplays basically to the classic Sonic Adventure, open world-ish, boosting formula, straight line with you being able to boost. Yeah, I don't know what a boost is because there are things that you could call boosts, I guess, in Adventure, but also Adventure only has like a hub world, basically like a Mario game. It has a hub world and then the levels are fairly linear. And also, you know, I don't see in what sense Sonic 06 wasn't Sonic Adventure 3. It's basically the same structure as those games and the same basic gameplay as them as well. Like it was slightly more broken than Sonic Adventure, but that doesn't really disqualify it. Like Sonic Adventure didn't have entire mechanics that they forgot to fully implement, like those items that are supposed to use up a special bar but they don't actually drain it. Yeah. But really the only ones I kinda liked were the 2D ones, I guess. I still have Sonic CD on Steam, which I bought and haven't gotten around to play because they say that's the best one. At least I've heard so much. If you look at Adventure 2, Heroes, 06 Events, Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic Colors, Unleashed. Oh, sorry. I don't know. There are major differences, like between those games, all of them. I mean, yeah, sure, there are differences between most games, right? Unless it's like New Super Mario Bros. Or Pokemon, then it's not literally the same game over and over again. But I feel like 06 was pretty much the same general formula as Adventure, with the hub world and the different heroes and the same basic gameplay. I haven't played that many of the other ones, but it felt like about the same formula. And the storyline ripping off Dragon Ball Z. Not all of them, but the ones before the end are similar, and the ones after the end are the Boost family. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So yeah, those are all the ones. The ones after the end I never really played, so I guess I don't know what the boost is. So maybe those are better. I'm really only familiar with Adventure 2, and to a lesser extent Heroes in 06, I guess. Shadow the Hedgehog, like I've seen gameplay, but I didn't play it at all. Also, what did you say? 06 is slightly more broken than Adventure, yeah? Like, it's extremely buggy, there are entire mechanics that weren't fully implemented, but Adventures is also an extremely broken game. Like, to be fair, I played Adventure DX mostly. Like, I played a little bit of the Dreamcast game, not enough to notice the difference. I played Monster Adventure DX, which was based on the Japanese version of the game, which is a bit more buggy than the American release of Adventure for the Dreamcast. Like, they fixed the bugs for the American release, but then when they made the X, they just used the broken Japanese version. I bought Shadow the Hedgehog for $1 at a thrift store recently, just to have it. I would definitely buy it for $1, yeah. I'd buy that for $1. Robocop reference? No? Okay. No, I'd definitely buy it for $1. Like, I'd be curious, I guess, to play it. Just because Sonic character with a gun. And like, that opening cutscene is very good. I think Adventure is also, like, for a AAA game, it's just pretty unacceptably broken. And I think I said this the other day that, like, Gen 1 Pokemon is the only other game I can think of by such a major publisher that's as comically buggy as Sonic Adventure. Like, the amount of times you just phase through walls and the ground in that game and die. Like, every campaign that isn't Sonic, I would argue, is not actually fun at all. Like, I think anyone would have a hard time, like, pointing at an element of the Knuckles, Tails, or Biggs, you know, of their campaigns and say, no, this is fun, look at it. This is a great idea for a level. I really feel like it's one of those games that just, there's nostalgia around it and makes people remember it as better than it actually was. Like GoldenEye, for example. Like, I also, you know, had GoldenEye as a kid, played a lot in multiplayer, used to have fun with it. Like, it's not a good game, it didn't age well at all. Multiplayer GoldenEye, like, it's mindless, it's really slow paced and not really strategic at all. Just kind of walking around looking for the other guy. And kind of just boils down to whoever has the most resources. There are a lot of games from that era. I feel that people are just have a rose glasses view of. But like, if you show it to someone who, you know, grew up after that, you wouldn't really be able to argue to them why that's supposed to be a good game. Which I'm sure I also probably still like games myself that where my liking them is largely because of like good memories, associations and stuff, and being used to them. But again, as I always say, if people like a thing that I don't like, that's good for them. Don't really have a problem with it. I'm just gonna be losing subscribers here. Talking shit about Sonic Adventure and GoldenEye. This guy's really taking a second to do. Try to accelerate a little bit. Feel free to leave your objections also, by the way, if any of you disagree. I'm not like dictating opinions here, it's just my individual view on it. Those early 3D games are slightly before my time. I still had my brothers in 64, but it didn't have many games. Yeah, you probably then, like if you played GoldenEye for example, you probably wouldn't, in my opinion, find anything interesting about it. I feel like a lot of games from that era, especially because like when an online gaming press started to really consolidate, it was by a lot of people who were like in their early teens when those games came out, and there's like an age where things leave a really big impression on you. So every like best games of all times list, if you looked at like the top 5 games, they like all came out between like 97 and 99 or something. Like you could tell that's an era they were super nostalgic for. Mario 64 was good. I do quite like Mario 64 because the movement is really interesting. I feel like it's the best speedrun game to watch because the movement is that. That's also kind of the reason why I said I really like Street Fighter 2010. I like games that have a set of movements that is at the same time it's kind of limited. You don't feel like super powerful, can go anywhere at any second, like Mega Man X, where like you're so fast and so maneuverable. Uh, but you have like a large arsenal of moves that are kind of limited themselves, and then you try to learn to use the diverse arsenal in a more in a better way. I don't know. So in that way, it's really good. There are some people who say it's also that like that's really overrated and stuff. I kind of agree in parts. Like there, a lot of the stars in Mario 64 are kind of basic and not that interesting. And the fact that you're like coming back at every point, I get that didn't age as well. But I feel like the navigating the same levels over and over again, it's kind of justified from the perspective of you're supposed to be getting better at the movement. It's kind of like how I say that 2D Sonic can be kind of misunderstood by newer players because they play the game one time through and make their assessment of it, when they were actually meant to be played from the start several times as you get better at like memorizing the levels and navigating them as fast as possible. And that was supposed to be the fun, not going through one. Like the first time is going to be kind of awkward because you're learning the level. So I think like sometimes it's possible for younger people to not get older games, but sometimes it's the older people just kind of remembering the best parts, right? Like a bunch of Mario 64 is kind of a filler in a way the later Mario games weren't. Like Sunshine and Galaxy don't have, like in a lot of ways they're less interesting because the movement's a lot less interesting, but they don't have filler like 64 did. But I do still really like the game. Sonic Adventure though, I played on the GameCube. Like I later played a bit of the Dreamcast version, but like the version that I mainly know is DX, Director's Cut, whatever. The GameCube release. That made the graphics a little bit worse because they tried to give the characters more detailed faces, but the less detailed faces looked way better because they didn't like move around in really awkward ways. The levels aren't too big in Mario 64 either, so I don't mind being kicked out of them. It feels like a scavenger hunt. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. For levels that size, I guess that kind of works better. Like people have made mods of Mario 64 where it's like Odyssey. You just get a star and you stay in the level, and that way, like you can get through the game super fast. It's a very different thing. Like getting a moon in Odyssey is more like getting like something in a rare game, like getting one of the collectibles in a rare game where there are tons and tons and tons, and you're just kind of looking for every one of them. But if you look at like shines in Sunshine, all the shines, they're still kind of the same basic format with the smaller levels and you get kicked out every time and come back. But there's a lot more difference between the shines. All the shines have more to them. I don't happen to like that game as much because I really liked the momentum-based movement of Mario 64, and Sunshine they made it a lot more accessible by making Mario he doesn't have as much momentum, and you have flood, so you can kind of hover and not fall down so much. So it also, turn into kind of a different kind of platformer. Not that it's bad, I just personally enjoy the style of Mario 64 more. which is why like a lot of people, my favorite part of Sunshine were the secrets that were basically like linear Mario 64 style levels, because they took the FLUDD away and they were all about platforming. I was excited for Sunshine to be released after all these years. I watched videos of it and I loved that. Didn't play it, I hate it. Yeah, I understand it not being your thing. It's a very different type of game. Like, I feel less like coming back to Sunshine than to 64. I've replayed 64 more over the years. I like Sunshine as a kid, haven't played it in ages. Yeah, I feel like I've played it, but not that much again. Like when I played it as a kid mostly, like got 100% and everything. Then in Galaxy, most of the stages, like every star would just leave you in a completely different place, and you wouldn't like go over the same areas that much. So it was a completely different approach. I thought to get most enjoyment from 3D All Stars from Sunshine, then 64, and then Galaxy. It was the exact opposite way. Yeah, Galaxy is nice. I find Galaxy, like, there's a lot more content to it, as I was saying. Like, basically every star is unique, and the soundtrack is great, and it just feels really nice and polished all the way around. But I still kind of prefer the style of gameplay of Mario 64 a little bit more over Galaxy. Like you're a little bit slower in Galaxy, and more controllable, right? You're kind of walking at a steady pace, where 64 has a lot of cool movement options, with the jump and then the lurch forwards and the long jumps and stuff like that. Mario just accelerates a lot more in that. And you know, getting where you want to go and not falling down is more interesting, because the controls are kind of harder. Like, it's a thing to keep in mind that maneuvering your character can be satisfying. Like, it's a kind of a difficult thing to pull off, so I understand that a lot of developers wouldn't want to take that risk, because it can be very frustrating, where the difficulty of playing a game comes from the characters not being like that easily controllable. Because it can feel like the character's fault and not your own fault. But if it's really consistent, the way that the character works, then it can be its own challenge. It's like the difference between Mega Man and Castlevania, like classic linear Castlevania games. Like in Mega Man, you have complete control over your character. Like, you can change the directions, in the ground or in mid-air at the exact same speed. Is instant in all cases. Um, you have like the slide or a dash in the X games. It's just a really controllable character. It does whatever you want him to do instantly. Everything comes out frame one. It's a very empowering main character. And then the levels and the bosses get to like move really fast and be really crazy because you are powerful enough to deal with that. While in Castlevania, the whole world, the enemies move a lot slower, but the Belmonts are so much more limited. Like you jump in a completely fixed arc that you can't manage at all. Your attack takes like a second to come out with the whip going back. You can only attack forwards. If you get hit in the wrong place, you just fall straight down and possibly like die instantly. So figuring out how to maneuver that very limited character through the world becomes interesting in its own way. And then you get to have a world that moves slowly enough to be kind of readable and easy to understand, and it becomes kind of almost more strategic than reflex, because you're thinking, what are the moves that I will do to get past. You get to stop, look at a session, and think ahead the moves that you're going to make to move through the section, and then do it. And I think that's really interesting as well. People don't try that as much. Because usually, for the sake of game feel, it's a good idea to make them feel like the difficulty is in the world and not in the gameplay, because it feels less like it feels like the player's fault because they had a really powerful tool and they just couldn't pull it off. I prefer 64, but I've seen and played it so often, so Galaxy was fresh. Sunshine was good at first, but got annoying and frustrating in later parts. Really? Yeah, I don't remember. I remember when I was a kid, maybe finding like the last level kind of annoying, like Corona Mountain. I don't really remember other parts being frustrating, because there's like the boat thing, which probably nowadays, I don't know, I feel like I wouldn't have as hard a time, but when I was a kid I remember crashing the boat a lot. Actually later I think I did like challenge runs in that where you couldn't use the boat or something. I think there are ways to do that. I did a bunch of silly challenge run stuff when I was like a teenager, I think, on Sunshine. The mountain with the ruined name, yeah, and like the 3D All-Stars came out during the pandemic, so a lot of people probably saw it for the first time then. I hate Sunshine's structure. N64's worked so well, and Sunshine said to note a perfectly well structured. What do you mean structure? I don't really know what you mean by that. Like the gameplay, the base gameplay? Because like in terms of progression, I think it works pretty much the same. Like you know, because structure, I would think you meant like the way that you progress through levels and stuff like that. And new areas are opened up or whatever. Or the shine/stars system. In 64 you could find, for example, star 6 when you're actually doing start 1. Oh, right, that. Yeah, I guess, yeah. They could have made some of them available, because Sunshine changes the areas a lot more, I feel, between shines. But they could have, like, the ones that could still be there, they could have done that. I guess I generally prefer stuff to be more freeform, where you can take whatever route you want. I haven't seen like Sunshine speedruns, but that must be, must really limit the routing possibilities. Yeah, that's... I agree, that's not a cool decision. I would rather you be able to do in whatever order. Like in Galaxy, I understand that you can't, because they're pretty much completely different levels. Like each star, you don't even always spawn in the same place, and usually, even if you do, like the level is completely different and it just progresses in a different direction. So they couldn't really allow for that, but in Sunshine they could have allowed for that a lot more. Oh right, like getting the shine that's there in the beach level by clipping through the ceiling. I've actually heard of that. I haven't like seen a full speedrun, but now that you mentioned it, I've heard about like the speedrun and I know about that. Yeah, it hadn't occurred to me that it's usually not possible in Sunshine. And even, if they're thinking, okay, so most shines won't be available because just the level is going to change, so let's not make shines available in the wrong mission. They could still have said, at the start you can pick between the first 3, and each one that you get, like, you open another one, so you can just kind of pick and choose. At least that, instead of making it fully linear. But I guess they also had that thing that the shine number, whatever, 5 in each one was the Shadow Mario one, and those opened the new areas, I think. So that would also need to be revised. You could just make it that after clearing a certain amount, the Shadow Mario one becomes available. As a kid I had no idea the Shadow Mario ones open the end of the game, so I never beat the game. Oh really? Oh. Yeah, I don't really remember exactly how it works, but I feel like those, like when you beat them, there was like a cutscene in the overworld and a new a new level was available to be opened. Oops. I'm taking kind of long on this one. Maybe I should zoom out and just do the lines like they're smaller. But yeah, I don't have a good enough memory of sunshine to like evaluate it, I guess. I mean, as a kid, I was kind of annoying as a kid. I always liked the older version first. Like whatever changed, like I guess I was really not receptive to changed stuff I liked. So I would always complain. I remember not liking Flood and saying I'd rather just have it be like Mario 64. It's a really annoying attitude for like a child to have. But I've mentioned this like before with Fusion. Like as a kid, I didn't like Fusion because it wasn't Super Metroid. Like I wanted it to be non-linear. And to not have dialogue and all that stuff. And like, it's just a different game. Like it's still a good game. It just doesn't have that much in common with Super Metroid. Sunshine is so weird. Is it like especially weird for a Mario game? Again, I don't remember it that much. And when you're a kid, you just kind of accept stuff. Like as far as weirdness goes, you just kind of see stuff and it's like, okay. Because like everything is weird to you. Like when I was really little and like I played a Mario game for the first time, it's like, okay, a flower gives you the ability to throw a fireball that just bounces around the ground and turns turtles into coins when it touches them. Okay, sure, whatever. That's about as weird as everything else is to me. Then when you touch a feather, you get a cape and now you can kind of bounce around the sky, not really fly. Alright. The GameCube era is pretty weird. Yeah, I feel like they were experimenting a lot at the time, and then later Nintendo had a phase of just doing really safe stuff for a while. and everything was a throwback, and everything was just like the older stuff. Because I guess they noticed how profitable it was at some point. Like, again, New Super Mario Bros. I keep throwing a bunch of hate to New Super Mario Bros. Like, they're fine games, but like those sell better than the 3D Mario's. Like, I feel like at that time they might have noticed, oh, people just kind of want us to keep doing the things that they already like. And then like Wind Waker was really out of the blue art style that nobody like was expecting, and that looked really different because there wasn't that much cel shaded stuff at the time. And they made the games cartoony when the art style, you know, like Link was tiny in gameplay, but the art style was always more realistic, so it was a pretty big change. And people just complained about it, even though it's like one of the best looking games on the GameCube. So then they made Twilight Princess, which is a lot more conservative after that. But I feel like a lot of different companies were experimenting more in the early 2000s. And then there was an era of very safe stuff. But maybe it has something to do with the fact that it's the 2000s now, it's the future. So like there was a Metroid, a Castlevania, and a Mega Man game in the GBA that were all like the end of the timeline for those games, like Fusion, Area of Sorrow, and Mega Man Zero. It was just like the end of the timeline for a really long time. I mean, Dawn of Sorrow, I'm still pretty sure is the end of the Castlevania timeline, and Mega Man. But is the X even in the same timeline? I haven't actually played that game. Is that the last Mega Man now? Because if not, I think it's like the last Zero. Try a new tactic here. Like I'll draw the straight lines and then I'll connect them. Is the idea. Yeah, the only Mega Man series from another timeline is Battle Network and Star Force. So the classic Mega Man, ZX, Advent are canon. Cool. And is that after Mega Man Zero. So is that like the end of the timeline at this point? Because I haven't played that one. I'm actually kind of surprised they haven't made another Mega Man X at this point. Like, it's been over a decade, like I think comfortably over a decade since they made like the Mega Man 9, since they went back to making like 8-bit original series games. I forgot Legends. Legends is in the same timeline. I thought that Legends was its own thing. Like, because playing the games, like, it's pretty clear that the original series, there's a time jump to X, and then there's a time jump to 0. But other than that, plus Mega Man X is 0. That X Legends, really? Does that add up at all? Like, is there any kind of... do they ever tie it up to like the ancient civilization stuff from Legends? Being like the civilization from the other games or something? Because I thought like everybody from that stuff was like dark-skinned people, so it wouldn't really make sense. So yeah, I don't really know how that ties in at all, but I'm assuming there's some kind of official Capcom timeline thing. So I guess Legends 2 is the last game in the timeline. Since 3 got cancelled, and I guess there's no expectation of it coming back. That I would have liked to see. Because like Mega Man Legends, I think, came out around the same time as Ocarina of Time. So they didn't have a targeting system, which they would have really benefited from. Like the way you rotate with the shoulder buttons, kind of like a first-person shooter, really isn't that great for the gameplay. And I feel like it probably would have just had a Ocarina of Time style targeting system if it came out, if it was like developed after the game. Very vaguely on Zero Series they showed a glimpse of Legends' old technology. Okay. I get it. So kind of more implying it than outright stating it. Because yeah, I thought we knew enough about the civilization that it wouldn't really make sense for it to be the same one from the Zero games. I'm polishing it too much. I'm forgetting that these are supposed to be kind of sketches. Take a shot every time I say that on stream. Sorry. Maybe there are some like speaking techniques that I should learn to like talk on stream forever without my voice getting kind of weird. But me no drink, me no take shot. So yeah, right, like you can drink, but you choose not to, right? Like theoretically you could in Germany. But drinking is so good. Yeah. Cool. Do people drink mostly beer over that? Is that a thing? Because in Brazil it's kind of the generic thing. It's basically like the normie drink is beer. But you know, it's cheap. That's largely the reason. When I drink like cheaper stuff, I usually try to drink very bad wine though. I prefer it. Like beer just makes me full of bubbles. Like it makes me nauseous before I get drunk. Saw an image where it was described how the world sees Germany and how Germany sees Germany. Yeah. I imagine beer thing features into how the world sees Germany. Yeah. But in Brazil it's also, you know, beer is the thing, the main thing that people drink. I was never a beer person. I'd rather drink less of something better. Oh, like also doesn't drink. Oh. Alright. More for me. I mean, you must save a lot of money when you're young if you don't drink. Because I used to go out all the time and buying alcohol like in a bar or something is ridiculously expensive. There were places like I would usually go to pretty cheap places, but if you go to like a decent bar, it's way too expensive. The world sees Germany just as Bavaria, while Germany will never look at Bavaria. Okay, I'm not sure what Bavaria is, but I'm assuming is a place where there's a lot of those stereotypical things with like the overalls and the little hats and the pointy houses. I have enjoyed drinking, but my brother's an alcoholic, so it's becoming unappealing to me. Yeah, you can imagine that would. Recovering though, oh, that's great to hear. How people love to describe Germany: use beer, leather trousers, beer tents, these typical German clothes. You know which. Drinking age. I didn't know drinking age was like a thing about Germany. I asked about it because there's difference in every country. Bavaria is a state in Germany. I live there. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't really know how. How many states do you have? Because you know, I think all of Germany is around the size of my state in Brazil. So how many states do you like fit in there? Because I know there's like what matters is population, and like the population is way bigger, I'm sure. But 16 states. Brazil has 27, and it's like way bigger. But you know, I'm sure the difference in population isn't that huge because we have, you know, we didn't completely destroy all of our nature yet, so people aren't. We're working on it though, don't worry. But I feel like Europe's kind of pretty much done with it. Like when the Notre Dame burned down, there were like wooden columns that got burned, and they couldn't replace it because there literally aren't trees like that in Europe anymore. Like the amount of time it takes for trees to get that big, just there aren't trees that age anymore. Pretty sure it's 16. I've lived here and I know nothing about it. I must have been, yeah. Yeah, in Brazil it's 18, but there are like rules that I don't fully remember about, you know, doing it under adult supervision. But everybody drinks before they're 18, like nobody waits. Like high school graduation parties just always serve alcohol. Even though most people, like, the normal age to graduate high school is 17. You aren't supposed to be able, unless you like flunked a year, you should be 17 or 16. One thing that I think is super weird, like I was watching, as I mentioned yesterday, Jennifer's Body. It's a high school American movie. It always weirds me out that high schoolers drive in American movies. Like you can have a provisional driver's license at 16 in Brazil. I think it's the same age as in the US. But like high schoolers don't have cars. Why don't give a teenager a car? What are you doing? I don't care if you can afford it. Just don't give them a car. They like drive to school. That's so weird. Kids driving to school weirds me out. Or like having their own car because like they got one from their parents as a teenager. That's no. Don't give cars to to high schoolers, obviously. Also, don't give them like grenades. But I can complain about Germany a lot, like a fuck ton of complaints, but other people do that better, so I won't rant about our politics and politicians and parties and rules and other things. I assume that's even where the E's became W's. I don't even know. Oh, that you corrected it. Even know how to drive. Yeah, my girlfriend's older than me and she hasn't gotten her license yet. Like, she didn't pass the exam the first time, which most people don't. And then she just let it expire to the point where she'd need to do the classes again. And then she never did it. Because she just rides a bike everywhere. So she never bothered. You know, in the rare cases where she needs a car, I just drive her. Whatever. So it's not like a big problem in her life yet. And I mean, depending on where you live, there's really no need to have a car. Like, if you live in a city with a good subway system, there's really no point. Like, when I visited Paris, for the I don't even want to say in the center of the city because I feel like it's a wider area than that. Like you never need to walk more than 4 blocks for anything because you're pretty much always 2 blocks away or less from a subway station, and so is the place where you want to go, you know. So 2 blocks to the station and 2 blocks to wherever you want to go, basically. It's rarely more than that. So why would you want a car? Even if it's raining, you just have an umbrella and it's fine. My brother's super into cars and stuff, you know, is older than me, and I will most likely have my driver's license before him. Why won't he get a license? Does he like cars but not want to drive them? Is he really bad at taking the test? What's going on? Because some people just get nervous. Like, getting driver's license in Brazil is a huge scam. We pay like literally 10 times as much for the whole process than people in neighboring countries. He would love to drive cars, but the problem is called laziness. Oh, okay. Huh. It's weird to be lazy even about, you know, getting to do a thing you enjoy, but alright. So it's ridiculously expensive in Brazil, and the way the test works is absurd. Like I basically lucked out in order to get approved the first time I tried. It's just, you know, I could just as easily have made a mistake because you have like 3 points that you can like lose basically. If you lose 3 points, you are you just lost. But even tiny things, like I lost 2 points in my test, and the thing I did was I made a turn, but while I made this turn, the instructor claims my foot was hovering over the I don't know what the term is, the thing that you need to push down in order to shift gears. It's a manual car, of course. So it was hovering over it. I wasn't pressing it, but because you're not supposed to be pressing it, which wouldn't really be a problem. You can do a turn fine while pressing it. It just the car won't decelerate quite as well while you're holding it down. But I wasn't pressing it, I was hovering over it, but the instruction was to have it resting next to it. So because I was hovering and not resting during a turn, that was 2 points off. So if I did that twice, I would more than have failed throughout, like, you know, a 20-minute to half an hour test. Like, it's absurd. And there's, you know, most things that you can do wrong would just cause you to fail outright. There's basically nothing that's just 1 point. Some instructors also sit down next to you and don't put on their safety belt. I don't know, not sure if that's what's called. The thing that goes over your body. Then don't put that on. If you don't tell them to put that on, you already lost like 2 points as well. Like, you have to instruct them to do it before you start the car. Yeah, so you were joking, that would cost hundreds of people lives, yet thousands of people die every day because they were kind of hovering with their foot over the... I don't know what it's called. I'm going to Google Translate this. Clutch? I don't feel like that's correct. I think the clutch is the thing that you use to change. Oh, if you Google clutch in like Portuguese, it shows just purses. That is a type of clutch car. No, I guess that is the clutch. No, but sometimes it shows the thing that you grip. Which one is it? Oh, whatever. It mostly shows like a gear, like it shows the actual thing that does the... Yeah, it's called the clutch apparently. Alright. But I guess you also call the stick the clutch. Sometimes, I don't know. That is pretty silly. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, it's just because they want you to keep, you know, if you don't pass the test within a certain time, you have to do the classes again, and that costs money, and they want to charge you again because it's all like it's done, like it's a public document, but it's done through private car schools basically, so they have an incentive to have you fail. So it's just really stupid the way that it's conducted, and just the whole process is super expensive. A while back they made like a VR training obligatory just to like make the whole process even more costly, but then that got revoked, thankfully. I got my license right before that, and then it was obligatory for a while. I had friends that had to do it, and they said like the programming of like the fake traffic in the thing was like worse than GTA 3. Like the cars just wouldn't act properly. I don't know nothing about cars, so yeah. No English words for car parts. I don't know the words for yeah. Those rats. Yeah, they're it's all pretty blatant. Like it's just a scam, and people basically have to deal with it. It really sucks. So I'm lucky I got past it in one go. Like, you know, I was really careful, but I still, you know, I still got lucky. Also, like, you take like 10 classes, I think, before that, and I had never touched the car before. Most people, you know, practice with their parents or something. I had never done that. And all my practice days were like beautiful sunny days with perfect visibility. And then the day of my test, it was just raining and winding like crazy. And like the first thing you do is you have to unpark your car. Like the car is here, and there's like bars here, like vertical bars. They look like this, here and here. So you have to, like, you know, go back and forth basically, so you can unload your car. Yeah, they weren't helping me, but you know, I still lucked out. Anyway, so you have to go through this, like basically unpark your car from a tight spot. It's the first thing you have to do. And because of the wind, they were just wiggling like crazy. They were just, you know, moving back and forth like on this kind of, so they were like effectively bigger. And if you touch one of them, you already lost. Like, they just put the car back and the next person gets to try. Because if you touch one of them, that's already full disqualification. So that was happening. And luckily, when I was like near the front ones, like, let me redraw this. When I was near the front ones, like I was on this part of the thing, a gust of wind just came by and took down the ones that were behind me. Like, they went down by themselves. And thankfully I was far away, because if I was close, it would look like I had touched them. But I was far away, so the instructor could see that it was just the wind. So they put them back on, and I did the rest of the thing. and it worked out fine. But you know, visibility was kind of crap. The rear view mirrors were all wet and stuff, so I had to deal with that in real time. But again, I was fairly lucky. Like again, if even if like those things had just come down at a different point, they would probably have flunked me. Because you can't even touch the things, much less topple them. Yeah, I got my license. I don't even use it that much. No, actually during the pandemic I've been using it a lot. But I usually like to walk. I mean, you're going to exercise at some point anyway, or at least hopefully you'll manage to do that. So might as well use the time when you're going from one place to another to move your legs a little bit. My job just has me sitting down all day, both of them. But yeah, I actually kind of hate driving. I don't mind the act of driving itself, but I hate traffic, I guess would be the better word. Uh, it just makes me tense and hyper aware all the time. Because you know, if two cars touch each other in the smallest way, it's like super expensive for everyone. So it's basically just a huge problem if anything at all happens. And like, the rear view mirrors have huge blind spots. Like one of the things I feel about like smart cars and whatever the next generations of cars coming up is that they really should substitute rear view mirrors, so that instead of like a little mirror here, which is kind of prehistoric, like you're driving, here's a mirror, they should like make it a little bit bigger and just have this be a feed of a webcam that's like slightly above the car, like here, with a wide angle lens, so you can see everything going on behind you with no blind spots. Because like for the people who don't drive, you won't necessarily know this, but like the rear view mirrors here on the sides of your car, basically they see something like this, basically. Like this one is really zoomed in, so it's like this. So there are like huge blind spots here, where like a car can be this close to you and you won't know it's there. So you have to be, even when you're trying to, you know, switch lanes or something. It's really easy to miss a car, or even worse, like a bike or a motorcycle. And you have to be looking out like 3 different mirrors and over your shoulder sometimes. Because if your car is in an angle at all, then you definitely can see anything that's going on. Like if you're coming from here, like if you're merging into another road and you're like here, you have no idea what's going on here because all your mirrors are pointing backwards. So you have to look, like you have to do this like while looking over your shoulder so you can see in this direction. It's really dumb. If you had one really wide angle lens on top of the car, you could see everything. And nowadays, like a GoPro and a tablet to display it on really isn't considerable amount of money relative to the price of a car. So I really don't know why we're still using mirrors like it's the 1800s. I'm terrified of driving. I think I'll mess everything up. Yeah, also basically my thing. Like always worried about the huge cost of doing anything wrong in traffic. I just realized like his arms are completely asymmetrical, and I'm just choosing which one I'll use as the correct one and which one I'll make match the other one. Oh yeah, same. I want to drive, but I'm scared AF. Yeah, I was really kind of nervous driving for quite a while after getting my license. Now I'm more comfortable with it. But I still I don't like talking too much while driving. I want to have like my full attention. Whenever there's something like complicated, I just stop engaging in conversation because I don't want to get distracted and miss something. I also pull this whole arm a little bit further up. And I should be able to finish this and still do at least I'm forgetting the name now. At least the first doll. Maker. At least Maker's doll. Because coloring is really fast, even though this one will be full of like metallic textures. But yeah, I also feel I don't know if where you guys live like automatic cars are more common, but automatic cars take a lot of the learning curve off, because when you're learning how to drive a car, like really the only thing there is to learn is switching gears. Everything else is kind of completely banal. And then you were learning like how to deal with traffic, learning traffic laws and where to look, when you before you do something, and getting all those as second nature, like so that you don't need to think about looking through a certain mirror before making a certain turn. So that's all automatic. But like the act of driving itself, the only thing that's kind of annoying is learning how to release the accelerator and press the clutch at the correct rate so your car doesn't just turn off. And then switching gears and automatizing all the orders of the gears, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and reverse can be in other places. All that takes some time to like make automatic, in your head. But with automatic cars, like basically press A to go forward. Like it's pretty silly. My cars seem better for me personally. Yeah, I mean there's not that much reason not to have an automatic car. I don't know why they were so rare in Brazil for such a long time. They've existed since like the 70s, I think. But only now are they beginning to be like common. We have no automatic cars for some reason. Really? Where do you live again? I don't know if you've told me and I've forgotten, or if I just never happened to ask. Sweden. Really? No automatic cars in Sweden? And yeah, you had told me, I just forgot. Sorry. I wonder why that is. Is it like a cultural thing? People must not like them, but I don't know. If you don't have many automatics, you are right next to the country known for car industry. Yeah, maybe it's like because people really like cars, because it's a very like it's a common gatekeeping kind of meme where people are really snobbish about driving manual cars, even though like for usual just civilian locomotion there's really no reason why you wouldn't want an automatic car. Like if you're a racer, then you want to have more direct control over what gear you're on. If you are navigating a city, like a car is perfectly able to just switch gears at the appropriate time. It's not the most complicated thing in the world. You just go in order whenever you reach a certain speed. But it's one of those silly things that, because people learned it and it was kinda difficult for a while, they are really snobbish about it and want to say that everybody who doesn't know how to do it is like pampered or something. It's stupid. But people always want to not make things that they worked to get into more accessible for others. That's pretty common. Yeah, just is pretty dumb in the context of just normal people driving. Like it's such a simple process. There's no reason for you to be taking your hands off the wheel to do it. Like every couple of seconds. When it's something so simple that a machine could very easily do it. I really never got people who are super into cars and like they know every model of car. Like, when do you learn that? Are you just reading about cars constantly? Do you ask people what their car's called and like memorize it? My brother's like that. I don't know, he does, but he knows everything. Yeah, it's like people fucking research cars. In Brazil, like the big thing that normies are like that about is football. They're just the amount of football knowledge that people have is absurd. Like they could be PhDs in anything else with that amount of just encyclopedic knowledge. Like they can say like the lineups of teams at a certain year. You like say that year they had this guy and that guy playing this position and that guy playing that other position and they got fifth place in that tournament. It's like why? How do you remember that? How can you organize like such arbitrary information? It's not like you can contextualize it, like anything could be true of any year. You just have to like have all of the data in your head. Like we got our new car, he immediately knew what he was doing on the little screen thingy. I contain the knowledge of God. Yeah. Maybe it's YouTube. There are tons of video for all different interests. Yeah, nowadays maybe it is. That's cool. I like how in YouTube, really niche things managed to like have content creators and stuff. But that far predates YouTube and a lot of older people who don't really use that so much, know that. So when it comes to football, people just were always able to memorize stuff forever. I guess they talk about it so much that they never forget again. So if you were alive in a year and like certain team won, you heard so much about it from the fans of those teams, since you're talking about football all the time, that you just got seared into your memory. Because there are people who like the thing they talk about is just always football. It's like the generic conversation to have in Brazil, and like two men meet each other. They'll like ask what their team is, and then kind of just go through a ritual where they will brag about what their team did recently or complain if it's not doing well, and like poke fun at the other person if their team isn't doing very well. It's just like the neutral conversation. It's like talking about the weather or something. People would probably react the same if they heard us talk about Sonic and Mario, like we did earlier. Maybe, but I feel like it isn't that encyclopedic, right? Like maybe Metroid for me, but there's so much less knowledge about Metroid than there is about football, because there are like tens of teams that people will know everything about, and each of them has like 11 main players and a bunch of extras, and they know about it for every year. Like you could count every Metroid game in your fingers. And Super is probably the only one where like I know it completely inside and out. So I don't know, I feel like I don't know as much about anything as they know about that. Now if you combine everything that I know about, It might not be like overall less knowledge. They might just be just super focused on one thing, that is football. But like, because it's normalized, like because football is seen as a normal thing for men to be obsessed over, like it doesn't get like, it is not like considered nerdiness, but really it's like the highest tier of nerdiness there is. Like, you'll be very hard pressed to find a nerd that knows as much about their interest, about like one single interest, as people who like football know about football. I'm trying to think what would be the equivalent for like games or something of knowing like the lineup of a team that's not even the one you, of like several teams that aren't the one you root for in like random years, decades ago. I feel like that's like, if you told me like what is the 75th episode of Star Trek Enterprise, and I could tell you what happens in it, like that level, just because of how much info there is. Yeah, it's like the nerdiest way of like acquiring, of like being interested in something. That's like, you turn it into a spreadsheet, you turn it into math. Like, that's the kind of the quintessential nerdy way to be into something, that you're not just enjoying it for its own sake. You want to have absolute knowledge of it, and you want to, lay it all out in an organized fashion. Like knowing all the timeline to, your favorite series or something. And all the minor character names. Like, if soccer fans were Star Wars fans, they wouldn't even check Wikipedia. They would just know everything off the top of their heads. I was playing a lot of Binding of Isaac recently, and at the height of my interest, I was basically studying the wiki for fun. I didn't even know there was like a ton of lore for that. Ask me something about Star Wars and I might know it. Okay, I'll try to think of something about Star Wars that's like equally obscure to that kind of shit that you hear soccer fans talking about. I don't know why I switched over to saying soccer now. I was saying football the whole time. I'll just stick with football. Let me think. Man, I don't even know enough about Star Wars to like formulate a question. Like, I think I don't even remember where this guy's from. Who was Lobot? Isn't that like the one that he named the other day? Let me think. Oh, that guy. Alright. Is that like a fan name? He's bald and has like stuff on either side of his head, like a robot device. Yeah, I guess he hangs out with Lando. I'm just looking at Wikipedia. Seems about right. I don't even remember this dude, see? Let me just browse Wikipedia. I'll just click some links in Wikipedia so we can land on something else. Perisawa's character is Glubshito. Is that a real name? Let me look up Glubshito. Nah, that's a meme. I'm just browsing Wikipedia now, looking for something. What's the name? What is the name of the Cantina songs genre? Just I'm sure there's like a fictional genre. Okay, what is the name of the waitress that works for that works on Dex Diner from Dexter Jetster? Yeah, I figured it was a fictional genre. It's a really good question, actually. Mine or the genre one? Because yeah, I kept clicking. I actually knew her name once, but I forgot both. Yeah, her name is Harmony Bagua. And she has a waiter droid. What is the model number of the waiter droid? Just kidding, it's WA7 waiter droid. But I figured that's a bit too ridiculous of a question. I didn't even remember seeing a waitress in that scene. And I saw the sequels this year. The prequel, sorry. But yeah, that's just a ridiculous amount of stuff. That I'm sure it's like all in books and stuff. Comics and all that. I knew you meant red and silver white, or wheel, blue eyes, pretty sure. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's a WA7 model apparently. Which I'm sure plenty of people could have like just said off the top of their heads. But yeah, I've never read that much like that into, you know, just knowing everything about the series. Ragtime. Alright. I feel like I've heard that word before, isn't it? Is it really a fictional genre? Maybe I've heard it, just talking about this, but... Or is that that's the name of the genre? Yeah, that's... Yep. Alright. But yeah, I think ragtime... Isn't ragtime like in the name of the song that they play? I feel like the song's called ragtime something. Oh yeah. Jizz, huh? I think it's John Williams' Cantina Band. Really? Okay. Thought there was a song that was called Ragtime something. Then I figured it might be that. But yeah, so they decided to call their fictional genre that's kind of like jazz. Jazz is pretty creative and great. I just can't stop imagining the Jerry Seinfeld B saying, "You like jizz?" And that's kind of cursed in and of itself. Don't. Yeah. Too late. I already did. Let's finally finish this. So anyway, I finally set up my Twitter today. I'm gonna start posting there instead of Tumblr. Oh, awesome. Yeah, should be a lot better. Definitely like put a link to it on our Tumblr probably. Like when you transition. Even though at this point, there are already not that many people browsing, but the people who see you, it's like a good seed, like to start having someone be able to see your tweets if people come over from Tumblr. I have like 2 followers and 1 got hacked. Oh no. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, it kinda starts really slow. That's the thing about social media, like you post stuff for nobody for a really long time, and then like it very slowly can start snowballing. Like for me it was more like my start was DeviantArt, So, you know, stuff would get like single digit views for a long time when I was posting. But, you know, I was drawing just because I wanted to draw, and then I might as well post. So I didn't really mind it so much. Then very slowly I started getting more people. So when I made a Tumblr, you know, linking it on DeviantArt helped a little bit. But again, Tumblr, when I started, it was very few people seeing stuff. That grew gradually. So when I came to Twitter, I already had like a pretty decent jumping off point. I'm going to follow you too. Let me just boop. Like, I also have you in the conversation, but I'll do it right now so I don't forget it. Done. So yeah. What I feel is like definitely the full art stuff will have a much easier time you know, finding people that enjoy it. I do this. Oops. Hope you guys can hear my PC just freaking out. I really gotta clean the fans. If you upload a full drawing, my last one was a sketch, and before that was pretty dry. Yeah. I mean, you can just upload your backlog and stuff, but eventually full art will have an easier time being found by people. And finally, we are done. Oh no, there's still... And I was going to flip the canvas for this. What about the one in his chest? I'll just do that with coloring. I just wanted to do some stuff for the threads here. On his original design, like, he has normal legs and feet, but like his name is Gazelle, so I wanted to give him kind of this inverted feet, kind of like a gazelle. And he has a pattern that looks kind of like this on his shins. So I decided to translate that into like changing his legs into threads. Alrighty, we are all set. And it's 8 o'clock already. Wow, I'm faster with the dolls. And anyway, the thing that I had a deadline on was this. I'll have the dolls ready for the next stream either way. Because then I have a bunch of non-streaming time to do those. Oh, I also was going to do this with line work. Oops. I gotta heard another thing. You said 8 o'clock already, right? Yeah, here is 4 minutes to 8 p.m. What did you hear? Like I can speculate on one word, but I'm not figuring out the rest. I really don't feel like the full sentence. I'm not being able to figure out what it would be. I heard 8 as eat. Oh really? Okay. Guess it makes sense. Didn't figure it was that close. And yeah, clock. Yeah. Clock was the one that I had already, immediately thought of. Can't even do consistent spacing. Or like no. Do you like pizza? Yes. Everybody likes pizza. Here we go. Pizza pasta and so on. What's pizza pasta? Oh, or was that... No. Pizza with noodles. That seems redundant. Pizza already has dough in it. But okay. It is the truth. I can make one and send you an image. I'm sure Google Images could, take care of that. And just put this little boy here. Then we'll use him to draw colors. It seems that in every other country Papa John's suck, but here is amazing. I have never encountered a Papa John's. We don't have that many chain restaurants in Brazil. Like there's fast food restaurants which are kind of pointless because they aren't cheap. But then like restaurants aren't usually like chains. We don't have like chain Italian restaurants or something like that. I'm assuming Papa John's, although John is not the most Italian name I've ever heard, but I'm assuming that's an Italian restaurant. Off topic, but I think I have the second most unique subscriber doll currently. I guess like the pyromancy hand is very much a different style from the others. Everyone else went with a plush. The knight doesn't count, he's just chilling there. Yeah, I might actually take down the knight just because, just to make room for more subscriber dolls. I'm not a subscriber. Rip the knight already missing, yeah. When it goes back down, the knight can just come back. Oops. So these are the reds. Such a spooky song. Changed it to something a little more upbeat, I guess. I could have actually colored him before adding a bunch of details because it's a bunch of stuff that's going to be like annoying to use the select mode to color now, but I can just do it by hand. Or at least something Hollow Knight inspired. We'll sit there for a couple more days. Yeah, that's cool. I don't know if you were here when I mentioned that I started a second playthrough of Hollow Knight, but I only like sat down to play it twice up to this point. I gotta play more. And like I don't remember crap. Like I remember generally the early game, so I got like the air dash pretty quick. I've never done like the non skip route for the air dash because like the first time it immediately occurred to me when I saw like the mosquito down there. Like I know people use like a couple of the Hadouken thing, I don't remember the name. They jump and just turn around and shoot a couple of times and they can reach it. Above the times I just lured a mosquito enemy from immediately below there and Vengeful Spears, right. Or just spell. Yeah, yeah, I haven't used that yet to like make a skip. I just lured an enemy and used it. I mean, I found that kind of easier. I didn't want to like risk shooting a couple of vengeful spirits, like using up all my spirit and not making it. So I just decided it was easier for me to just lure a mosquito. Yeah. And then I went to the hive way too early, so it was really annoying to kill the bees. Like it took forever. Like the bee guardian, I think, like the boss, it's pretty easy because he really won't hit you if you don't make a mistake. So even, you know, if your stats are low, like you have no extra health and like the lowest damage, just going to take a little bit longer. But I wanted the regenerating life thing early. I figured that could be useful. I actually think I might have overestimated the use. Yeah, the high is a lot more annoying. Because like you have 5 life, so if you get a couple of hits, you are at the point where you can just get comboed to death real quick. Like if one of the normal stingy bees hits you into a bouncy bee, that's 1+3 and you're dead. So I actually died and had to go back there, but then got the Hive Knight in the first try. Oops. Not what I meant to do. Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. The bosses are pretty fair in Hollow Knight. Like they really let you, like I don't remember like patterns for anything, of course. But they give you leeway to like learn the pattern the first time. And then they get harder in the second half in a way that you can kind of adapt in real time. I went kind of straight for later, like when I realized that I could do it fairly early on. I went straight for the guy that gives you the power up for like smashing the ground, because I remember that I kind of found him late in my first playthrough. Like I could have gotten to him a lot earlier than I did, and I remember him being like the easiest boss in the game. So this time I went as early as I could. It was like before Hive, and yeah, he's really easy. Like there's basically no reason to get hit in that boss. I feel like they kind of overdid it with that one. Like he's arguably easier than the first boss, than like the Pretender Knight or something. I don't remember his name, but yeah. Like they might have overdone it with making him too dodgeable. Pretender Knight? Yeah, I don't remember the name. I thought it was something like that, like it was a fake knight in some way. The first boss, the very first one that you're kind of forced, I think, to be the first, like the one that has like a mace and is kind of fat. The one that you fight before getting the Avenging Spirit in the very first area. False Knight, okay. Yeah, I didn't remember the name. I just remember the idea. The general idea behind the name. Like, I feel like even he is like probably harder than that one. Considering that like you don't have the air dash when you fight him, but still, I don't think I got like hit by either this time. They're both like telegraphed their stuff really well. It's something that I like. Like one thing that I thought was kind of annoying in Dark Souls is that the wind up to the attacks doesn't tell you that much what the attack's going to look like. You kind of have to memorize. Like the wind ups for the attacks in Hollow Knight make it very clear what the character is going to do. You don't have to like memorize the animations and think, oh, after this one he does that, because you see it once and you can tell. We are almost done. Alright. Get rid of the old one. Merge these down and make a history brush, because now it's time to use black and white to do the shiny texture, and we'll be all done. I have an unpopular opinion around these parts. I don't enjoy playing Metroidvanias. I like watching and streaming though. I don't like backtracking and having to remember what to return to with items. It's unfortunate because Hollow Knight is very beautiful. That's understandable though. I agree with one point. Hollow Knight is very beautiful. yeah, I mean, you can have like different tastes. Yeah, especially Hollow Knight, I think doesn't suffer that much from that because you're always doing something interesting in that game, and you're always finding new routes. Largely because like the more formulaic Metroidvania, like the Castlevania games and like Metroid Samus Returns, you get like a new item and that will open a bunch of doors, but there's like one thing that is like the next thing you're supposed to do that will make like actual progress. Everything else is probably just going to like get you a power up or lead you a little bit farther down until you reach a thing that you need another item to open. So that's kind of pointless. But Hollow Knight, everything you get opens so many new kind of possibilities, and there are so many possible routes that you're pretty much always like doing something interesting in that game. So I feel like it's one of the better examples of the genre. But also like the games, the Metroidvanias that are actually well structured tend to guide you fairly well when it comes to like the actual next like important thing. Like people like saying that it's Zero Mission, they ruined it because they shows the statues like mark on your map like the next important objective, and it's like they don't remember their first playthrough of Super Metroid to remember that like when you get a map expansion in Super Metroid that always like contained like parts of map, like detached parts of map that looked kind of interesting, or even like that featured the boss in them, and then that like was already a guide that told you what direction you had to go on, and then it was about finding the secret passage or whatever, or realizing I can go there yet, but now I have to find the basically the key effectively, except the key is in the form of a power up to get there. So you always pretty much have objectives if the game is well structured. Castlevania games tend to be kind of the laziest about this, in that they just let you open, like you get the blue key, and they let you open every blue door until one of them is the one with the progression, and the other ones all have like a little bit, like a small reward behind. That's kind of the laziest way to do it, and I understand not being too into that. Off topic, but care to take a look at one of my latest drawings? It was on paper, so I didn't bother with mistakes that much. Okay, sure. You can put the link and we'll look at it real quick. Yeah, but time is going to be really tight for dolls. I might just make this today. Just 1 second, I'll finish this and then I'll click your link. Here we go, and here we go. But alright. Like the dun 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 opened right as I was opening your image. This is like a spooky revelation. Oh, this one's tiny again. Here it is. So yeah, it's more traditional arts. Yeah, I don't even know how much like I could say about like mistakes. There really aren't that many. Like stuff's properly lined up. Cause signs from Twitter, yeah, but sometimes Twitter just makes like posts on Twitter. Like if you go to like show image, like they show up huge. Like the eyes are nice and symmetrical. So there really isn't that much. Like here, like this is kind of weird to me. Like if you, I don't know if you did like a basic structure. Like I would do something a little bit more like this. But you know, again, stylization. Like the character doesn't need to be like to click super well. Well, not that much to add. Everything pretty much clicks, like in terms of the structure, which is always harder in like traditional art because you really don't get to fix it. But yeah, looks fine. I mean, I'm not sure now that I look at it, I'm not sure what's going on with the tail, like what kind of path is the tail supposed to be doing like this? I'm not sure what is going on with the tail, like where it starts. Because it kind of looks like it starts like from the middle of her back and does this. Because that's like the shortest line that you can draw with the pieces that are visible. I'll make a thingy, don't know what you mean by that. Like I get that it's a tick-tail, but like it's supposed to be like this. Because even like it looked like it's starting very high, like starting on her upper back, which you know can be how it is. Like if she had her back turned, she would be like here. And it looks like the tail is like this. Like it starts all the way up to the upper middle back. So if that's her design, it's fine. I just figured that it kind of looked high for a tail. But yeah, I don't know. Not that much to add. Oops. Oh, I'm in the wrong layer. No. All that work lost. I'll have to draw one again. I rotated the image, hold on. Clip Studio is weird help. I haven't used Clip Studio yet. This is because I'm kind of just committed to Photoshop at this point. Like I don't want to relearn a tool that's going to do the same thing that my tool already does. Like if I was starting now, I'd probably start with Clip Studio. It looks like a Coca-Cola can now. Yeah, let's get this finished as fast as possible. I was about to say it looks like a Coca-Cola, yeah. Oh well. I think I'll use the same system as for Jody. Where I'll do the whites kinda touching the edge, and then the black will be like next to the other edge. And now black. The stream never buffers, but I keep losing connection from chat sometimes. Huh. Keep writing welcome to the chat room. Every time you reconnect, sometimes I miss messages if it had bad timing. Anyone else? That has happened to me, but I think once. But I remember that happening, like the chat just kind of glitching out and me getting that message again on someone else's stream. But it's not like a usual thing. That's weird. But that kind of looks like it would be on your end. But you know, if someone else having the problem, then maybe not. Like, I don't know how good my upload is, maybe it's not that great. No, I missed this one. Alrighty. Still gotta do the blacks here as well. Not sure about this. Maybe I'll do the top and bottom separately, because they are at different angles. Not a huge fan. I'll be going now. Take care. It's looking awesome as always. Have a great one. You too, Orlek. See you around. So the tail thing on DC, if that's okay. Oh, Discord. Yeah, sure. Just figure this out. Okay. I think this should be fine. Good enough anyway. Yeah. Should I just full on? I just feel like I'm going to lose like readability if I full on to this. Oh, it does kind of look better. No, I guess it's fine. Oops. Yeah, this is Discord. I'm just using DC. I sent it, by the way. Okay, sure. I'll just, get this done. Then I'll take a look at that. I think that will be better pacing. I don't want to leave just a tiny bit of robot left and, talk about something else on stream and then come back to just finish it. So, we're on the final stretch here. I just finish it. Then we can just chill for a bit because we won't be able to do DOS today. Like, I'll do them off stream. They'll be done probably next stream, unless something unforeseen happens, because I should have a bit of time tonight and then tomorrow. I'm kind of trying to stream every day this week. If you guys noticed, I don't usually do this many days in a row. But this week, things have been pretty light on my other job, so I tried it out. Alrighty. So this should be it. Taking a final kinda backing off, taking a final look. Man, those are pretty much them. So now there's the final thing to do. Where we duplicate these layers, merge them. Sorry, what did I do? I deleted them. That wasn't what I wanted. Duplicate layers, bup. So now that you've streamed a lot, how do you feel about it? I mean, it's fun. If I am able to, I would like to stream a lot more. It makes like the workday, the drawing part of the workday more fun. You know, sometimes I might not have like quite the energy for it, but this week I had, so I enjoyed doing it. It's more a question of availability than just, you know, wanting to do it. So Jody's car has like a lavender thing, I think, or more towards bluish. Let me Google that. Jody's Summer's car. It's not a car, so they call it machines, but anyway, it's just summer and machine. Yeah, it's kind of white and lavender, so I'll go with the lavender because white's too neutral. Can be a little bit lighter. There you go. And, you know, Gazelle's is red, of course. I'll make it like the brightest red. A little bit light. So it isn't such a different value from everyone else's. Let's see how they look on black. Okay, they look fine. Even though they have kind of more different values than I would like. If it gives the characters like different vibes. So yeah, cool. Let's save as Photoshop, and let's save as a JPEG. JPEG is better to post on the internet. The colors get altered less. I streamed interesting to see the tail thing. It's weird thing that makes no sense. Okay, let's open Discord real quick. Here you are. Copy image. I think you wrote on it in blue. This is the wrong one. I think I have to do this. Yeah, this is the new one. Yeah, okay. I actually would move it down a bit. Yeah, I can see, because yeah, on this drawing it doesn't look as far up as it does on the original drawing. No, I can tell. I can read it fine. But yeah, like unless her arms were like here, like even then, unless her arms were like here, this would, you know, still not be quite as high as they are as it is here. Yeah. So okay. So I got it. It's supposed to be more like here. But yeah, okay. Cool, gotcha. So I'm going to not in tired after the second one is left him to count as 2 seconds. Yeah. No, but I got it. Like I got it. It was supposed to be like starting really thick and then narrowing. But you know, still I thought it was a bit starting a bit too high in the middle of the back for like a usual tail. Sorry, yawning. So I think like since I'm not gonna be able to do like a doll now, I'm just going to look for someone to rate. Probably Orlek. Is he on? No. I'm not gonna be able. Sorry, just my own stream. Yeah, this guy is rating. He's streaming. So slash rate, a commercial is playing, so I'm just going to wait for the commercial, but it should be fine. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to send you guys to this guy. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me, and see you guys around. Rip doll, still excited to see them though. Yeah, you'll see them next time. So yeah, bye.
Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome. How are you? Comes with hello. Oh my god, I don't want to draw this foot. I hate this so much. We're gonna leave it here and I'm